Hello, Superwomen. I am so excited to have this conversation today. Brittini, her work, you are going to love her. Welcome, Brittini. Can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you for having me and shout out to all the super women that are listening. Happy
Hey.
to be here in this community. So, yes, my name is Brittini, and I am the creator of a movement called Big Pussy Energy, which I like to pause because it
Let them
has
feel the feels.
let them feel it because it's a either very, no matter how you look at it, it can be a confronting word, even if it feels exciting, but there's still like subconscious confrontation that comes with it. So yes, I own and created a movement called Big Pussy Energy, which is the concept, and it's a modality that the power of a woman lies in the places that we have been taught to be afraid of, shamed, suppressed, and fear of the most, which is our sensuality. And we notice that where we've been taught to be the most afraid of is coincidentally where our power is held. Of course, like the more I think about it, the more humorous it is. Of course, our
Systematic
power. Yeah,
suppression of our
it's
power.
hilarious. Yeah, of course, our power is held in our plain sight, in the places that are innate and natural to women to express and to embody. But we have been taught through the patriarchal lens that it is actually wrong. And if you do that, then you are attention whore, you're a whore, period, or that it's for someone else. Like there's so many quote unquote negative or dirty words that get attached to female sensuality. And so in Big Pussy Energy, we actually create a space where you are empowered and celebrating your sensuality, because I use the word sensuality and power interchangeably. Not only are you embracing your sensuality through Big Pussy Energy, but you're also embracing your power. And how we do that is that we use sensual movement and twerking and sisterhood as the tool for you to connect to your power. So it's not sit and let's talk about it. It's let's embrace it and embody it. And through the embodiment of your sensuality, you'll probably come across things that make you uncomfortable and confront, oh, I didn't like that, or oh, I don't know if I can do that. But as you keep continuing looking yourself in the mirror and witnessing yourself in your sensuality, slowly and probably quicker than you can imagine, you're going to witness yourself in your power and see, holy fuck, I am a sensual, sexual, divine goddess. And everything I've been taught is wrong. And then that's the journey of taking full ownership of who you are. And the definition of Big Pussy Energy is the moment a woman remembers who the fuck she is. And that's really what we're doing at the end of the day. It looks like a dance class, but underneath it all, it's a movement for a woman to embrace and to remember who the fuck she is, which is the goddess.
I just want everyone to just replay everything you just said because we need to hear it a second time. For me, and one of the reasons why I love your work and that BPE challenge this summer was amazing. Movement has been something throughout especially difficult times in my life. Like in med school, I was going through one of the deepest depressions. And I found yoga, did my whole like, wait a minute, I did everything right. And I checked all the boxes and I have everything I've ever wanted. And now, like, is this it? This can't be it. This feels empty. So I went on my whole pussy journey, self-discovery journey. And then I found pole dancing. And so at so many points throughout my life, movement has been something that's helped me heal, something that's helped me go deeper. Is it like similar? How did you create BPE?
Oh my God. Well, that's a whole thing in itself. But because there's like two things there that I want to like speak about is movement is healing. And the reason why movement is so healing and why talk therapy in the mind can only go so far is because our mind is designed to keep us in survival. And so when we try to move out of our comfort zone to the mind and to the nervous system, that can feel like death. That can feel like the unknown, which the unknown is to the mind can be death and to the ego can be death. The unknown is unknown, so it's scary. But To the body, it can be expansive, and the nervous system can feel safe in it if you allow yourself to. And so talk therapy, which I love, I do it myself. It's great to process it because we are humans. We do have the mind. We do have internal dialogue. It's important to speak it out loud. However, movement, emotions, and regulation, that's all in the body. Like, emotions are just energy. So if you're experiencing denser and darker emotions, that's just denser energy that's being stuck and stagnant in the body. And so using your body to move and to express that is how you can actually start to unravel it without even talking about it. I am an outward processor, so I am someone who, like, I'm saying this from a person who fucking talks to therapists, to my friends about all the things. And you can get easily caught up in your own story. You can easily get caught up in your own loops. The more and more you talk about it, the more you're putting energy towards it. So that, yes, it's very beneficial to like use the mind and talk through things. However, movement is what really starts to stick and break up the things that get you moving on. So movement is extremely important. I believe, I've been through my own dark night of the soul, which it's called a dark night, but let's be real, it's a couple of years. So I've been through it myself. Also Saturn return, which is like that bridge between 27 going into your 30s. It's like where everything you thought was once true, it starts to break down and the illusion becomes where you see things that aren't really there. So it's a really uncomfortable process. So I just got through my own, and I can say without a shadow of doubt, movement is a big reason why I'm here and why BPE is here and why I'm still here. And without it, we'd all just be so disconnected and stuck. And that's what you see a lot of people are. And that's why movement is such a huge part of what BPE is, because like I said, we can keep talking and talking and talking about this is how you feel confident. This is how you get sexy. This is how you get pleasure. But like, no one's going to actually feel confident unless you actually start to feel confident. Like, it's not in the mind. Self-help books and all those things are so helpful to give you an idea of what's possible. But for you to actually feel confident, to feel pleasure, it needs to be felt in the body. And so that's what movement is and why it's such a huge thing.
I find it actually takes things deeper to like actually somatize, be able to feel. So I lived in my head for years. Like the first 30 years of my life was just me overthinking and planning and, checking the boxes, reading the self-help books, doing the personal development. And that's where so many of the women that I work with are at, and so many of the women listening are at. Like, they've done the work. They're not adverse to doing the work. But when it's just more cerebral and they're not actually integrating, or like the tools that I'm giving them are to take action, to like feel different, to move that stuck energy, to expand their ability to receive pleasure. And like, therapy's great for certain things, but you're right. It's like sitting and talking about things, but actually doing, feeling, becoming two totally, totally different things.
Right. We're humans and we are truly here to experience the whole human experience, the full range. Like, we're here to experience it all. So to experience it means to actually be in it, to feel it, to let it move through you. And it's not about analyzing it and trying to understand it and trying to fix it and look at it and like without touching it and just looking at it from an observer and like, oh, how can I fix this discomfort? It's like, no, the human experience is actually go in the discomfort and fucking feel it, or the pleasure, like to feel the pleasure, right? Like I was definitely like you asked, how did BP start? It really started because I was looking for pleasure outside of myself. I could not orgasm with a partner. And so I kept thinking like, maybe this guy will make me come. Okay. Didn't work. Okay. Maybe this guy will make me come. That one night stand didn't work. Okay. None of these one night stands are working. Okay. Maybe I need to be in a relationship to feel pleasure, and got into a relationship. And for 9 months we were together, and long story short, did not enjoy sex anymore. Like, even in a monogamous relationship, I still felt disconnected to my own pleasure. Once that relationship ended, I was like, okay, the only thing that is connected to all these experiences is myself. So thank God I had the awareness at that age of like 25 where I was like, okay, everything, the only consistent thing here is not the guys. It's not this guy or
Yeah.
that guy. It's actually me. And so that turning the finger and being like, oh, I'm the one disconnected from my pleasure is what then started my journey to feminine embodiment. And it was like a 5 month time frame where I was staying at my mom's house. This was during COVID. And I just went deep. Like my whole life was working at a country club as a server, working out, and then just deeply diving into femininity because I was so disconnected from my own. Like that relationship that I left, I was completely enmeshed, codependent, looking for validation in him and with us, and didn't find it there. So I left it extremely empty, probably depressed, but didn't even know. Just extremely numb. I was very numbed at the end of that 9 month relationship. And so coming home and being like, oh my God, it's me. I started with a mind. So I started reading books, which is helpful, right? So I started reading books to understand what
Yeah, you
feminine
need the
essence.
awareness.
You need the awareness. You need the roadmap. So my roadmap was through the books called with David Data. I read the book Intimate Communion, which it's kind of outdated, but it is very helpful in understanding feminine and masculine energies because we all have them. And that helped me understand it. And it helped me understand, like, oh, femininity is not annoying or weak or too much because I grew up in the 90s, which unfortunately was so saturated with femininity being a negative thing. Like, girls, like, you took too long. Don't cry like a girl. Don't swing like a girl. Don't run like a girl. Like, you don't hear those anymore. But I did grow up in an environment where that was very plagued in my reality. And so I completely disconnect from my femininity because of that. So I learned through my brain what is femininity, but then interchangeably at the same time reading these books, I also started exploring because I was like, well, if I'm learning about femininity and I'm a feminine being, I can also learn from my own body. So as I'm learning through books, I'm also touching my body because I am the feminine. So I started touching my body, like literally just massaging my whole body for an hour and started self-pleasuring. The first ever dildo I've ever bought in my life was during this time. It was a crystal wand, which is the same crystal wand I still use. And so I used penetrative pleasure, not just to climax, but to actually explore myself in a very divine way. And then about a month into all this like deep dive, I remember I intuitively was like, oh, I want to stand in front of the mirror. And I was naked and I was like candlelit. Again, I'm in my mom's house. So when people are like, oh, I can't do it, I'm in my parents' home. I'm like, there's no excuse. I was in my mom's house in my brother's old childhood room. That's where I was staying in while I was there. And I stood on top of a chair because that's where the mirror was. It was up above a wall, very small mirror that you could only see your torso in if you stood up. And I just started moving and touching my body and listening to like sexy music. And I'm not even kidding you, y'all. In like a second, it was like all at once. Everything that I was looking for energetically, validation, pleasure, seduction, feeling desired and wanted and chosen, all of a sudden, all in that moment, looking at myself, I was like, it is all within me, all of it. And that was the moment where unknowingly Big Pussy Energy was birthed. However, I took it and just did it for 4 years on my own. Every single day, I did what I call sensual embodiment for myself. And then it grew bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where like I started embodying in my everyday life. I was walking more sensually. I was moving my hips more circulatory, whatever. I was moving more, my hips were flowy. And to the point where then it was starting to attract and people started asking, like, how do you move your body like that? And then it just got bigger and bigger to the point where it's like, oh, I can actually teach this.
I need to
And then
teach it.
teaching it,
Yes.
yeah. And then teaching it then turned into a movement, which turned into Big Pussy Energy, which is now what we all see today. But it started with me first, 4 to 5 years ago now. Like it wasn't like I have this idea to make a business. No, it was like a full on cycle of a lifetime to get here.
Yeah, that was me in the Pleasure Collective. It's like there were several deaths and rebirths that
Yeah.
I didn't want to be having a podcast and saying pussy on a podcast and like being on the news talking about libido when my grade school teachers can see me. Like that, it was not what I set out to do. But when you have those awakenings and it is like, it's so clear, it's like, oh my goodness, it's in me. The power is in me and it's been here. The answers are in me and it's been here the whole time. How can you not share it?
Yeah. And it comes from a place of like, I started seeing so many women wanting to understand themselves deeper. And it just became such an obvious thing for me to like bring into this world. It wasn't even like I didn't have that like, oh my God, I have something that I need to tell people. Like, because it's in within all of us. It was more just like the big reason why Big Puss Energy really came out is because I was looking for femininity that I could not find. Like the only model of femininity that I was experiencing was like the spiritual girl that talks really softly and really light and really slow and has like a rose petal brushing against her face and a white flowy dress. And I was like, that is not fucking me. And I could try really hard to be that, but it's not natural for me to be like that. And so, really, Big Pussy Energy became like this big permission slip for women to embody, to take up space, to be loud in like a way that not only just the voice, but actually their energy, take up space. You don't have to be loud, like energetic or vocally, but energetically, and to really lead with their pussy led desires and to feel empowered in their sensuality and to embrace it in their everyday life. And it doesn't mean that you're this overly sex driven person, which you can be. And it also can mean that you're celibate. Like when I started BP, I was like a year celibate. Like it has nothing to do about sex. It's all about embracing your power through your
Which
body.
I also love because when I talk about pleasure, I feel like people are automatically think of sex, orgasm, like, oh, I'm just laying around self pleasuring all day.
Mhm.
I mean,
Which
some
it's
days,
not just
yes.
people. Yeah, it's a yes and. I mean, of course. And it's not just, I mean, it's not just people, but our society. Even the word pleasure is shadow banned on Instagram. So you might notice that like women are use,
Oh, our social accounts and
yeah,
everything. Do people ask me all the time? They're like, "How do you not have 100,000 followers?" And it's like, well, because we are banned, because our message is constantly being suppressed by the patriarchy and the powers that be.
right. Well, because those words trigger like, whatever, to think that it's inappropriate. So the word pleasure is a word, sexy, like those words aren't allowed because they're inappropriate, quote unquote. So of course, then we're programmed as a society to think that they're dirty. And here we are telling you, no, it's not. And pleasure is not only found in one or two places on your body. It can be found in sitting and just breathing in air and being present. Like really, like think about whoever you're listening, when you think about pleasure and you think about the most pleasurable time of your life, what made it pleasurable? It can be a time during sex, but what about that time during sex was the most pleasurable time versus all the others? Or was it a moment, a memory? And for me, and when I ask a lot of people this question, the common thread is presence. Something becomes very pleasurable because you're so present with it, right? Like I've had sex where it was extremely unpleasurable and it fucking sucked. But then I also have had sex that was extremely beautiful because of how present I was. It actually didn't have to do about the length of the penis or her fingers inside of me, right? Like it didn't matter what the action was. It was the energy that was being cultivated through
Yeah.
the present.
Presence, high sensation, and safety is what I would
Yeah.
say
Mhm.
is my little trifecta.
I love that. And those are all real.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
even like vacation. I can think of, being on the Amalfi Coast, just like breathing it all in, like
Yeah.
how the air felt from the ocean and like the sounds of the city, people moving around, smelling coffee, like it was the sensation too. And obviously I felt completely safe and relaxed in those moments.
Which is
But yeah,
sensuality.
it can
Yeah.
be, yeah. And just by limiting our definition and making it so narrow of what pleasure is, which is why I wrote my book,
Mhm.
because like that cuts us off from our power and it makes
Yeah.
women sick. Like it's
Mhm.
literally making them ill
Yeah.
when we're cut off from that much of our power, and our chi energy is like stagnant. So loving all of this. Okay. I did at my most recent retreat, shared one of your classes with the ladies. I need to send them all the link because they're going to sign up. The twerking one. Okay, so
Oh
imagine a bunch of like super successful women.
my
I was
God,
like, I'm
hot.
gonna make them twerk. And I thought that I was gonna get a ton of resistance, not a single complaint. And you
Yeah.
should have seen these asses popping. It was amazing. It was the most beautiful thing. I thought that they would be very resistant and then eventually get into it. Into it. They're like, sign me up.
Was it Love Drop?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one because it's easy to follow along. It's like the good beginners
Yeah. And we
get
didn't
it.
even get through the whole thing. We did like the first 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
they were
Oh
sold.
my God.
And it just is a testament to your work and how amazing
Thank
it
you.
is. So
Thank you.
tell us, like, just tell us a little bit about your platform and how people can access it, because I highly recommend BPE as a pleasure practice, Superwomen.
Mm. Yes, thank you. So BP is, well, I'm based in Austin, Texas. So if there's any women in Austin, I teach an in-person class every Wednesday. It's 90 minutes. However, I've been doing BP for 2 years, and that was like the main foundation were these classes. And I was like trying to figure out, okay, like more women need this. And so I created what is now called BP on Demand, which is an online platform, just like what you were talking about, is like this sexy Netflix. It's so hot. I brag that I created, we were just talking about it earlier, but I brag that I created the whole back end. So it's truly like
Yes.
every copy, every photograph, every single like thing that's in BP on Demand was through my pussified lens, like through my fingertips. So it's very well like loved on and pussy juiced like through.
And you
Uh,
can tell as soon as you log in, I am signed
yeah.
up.
Yeah, thank you. So it's basically a platform where classes are 20, like there's a 10-minute class, most of them are 20 minutes, and there's some that are 30 minutes long. But it's a classes that you can take anytime, anywhere in your own environment. You can wear whatever you want. I also like throw out, you can wear nothing at all because it's in your own space, which is hot. But there's so many different classes. Like you just mentioned, the twerk shop class is more like wild woman, like really allow yourself to be big, like the big part of big pussy energy. It's like the twerk shop is the bigness. So taking up space, being unapologetic, allowing yourself, giving yourself the permission to move your ass or to shake your body like that. Right. Like I learned how to twerk on YouTube when I was quarantined in Australia for 7 days. Like there was no one watching me, and I had so much judgments in my mind, but then I realized the only judgments that were being experienced because there's no one watching me was my own. And so yes, it can be uncomfortable because we've been taught that that's not for you, those movements aren't for you, they're over sexualized, or like a person that looks like you can't, right? All these stories. But when you do twerk shop, just like how you mentioned, all these women that you would think wouldn't want and wouldn't want to do it. And then they like, because one, you gave themselves the permission to give them that space to do it. And two, PPE is such a beautiful space that also like raises women up to be like, we're just having fun here and see how much power you feel while doing it. And so twerk shop is like this bigness energy, take up space energy. And then there's sensual embodiment, which is the creation story of BP, which is that story where I saw myself in the mirror and like, oh my God, everything's within me. That sensual embodiment. And it's slow, your eyes are closed, and the whole 30 to 20-minute video, your eyes are closed, including mine and all the women behind me, because it's about you connecting to you, right? We're taught that our power is outside of us. I mean, that's the whole humorous thing about this world that we live in, is that we have been taught that the power lies in the government, lies in economics, lies in the doctors and all the things, but really at the end of the day, it all lies within us. So when you take away your eyesight, you take away the illusion of your power and illuminate the power within you. And so you have classes that help you slow down, connect to pleasure, like what we were just talking about, pleasure. It also helps you connect to pleasure through touching just your skin. And then the BP classes themselves are classes that teach you new ways to move your body. In BP, I love to say the language of the body is movement. And so when you come to BPE, you're learning the language of turn on, you're learning the language of pleasure, you're learning the language of femininity and receiving. And so when you come to these classes, you're learning fun and like 1 minute long choreos that are all levels that are designed for you to just connect to yourself. They're not designed for you to look perfect like me. And it's not like a dance class. I've never been a dancer nor a dance instructor. It's all about you learning the language of your turned on body. And so I highly recommend it as, like you said, a self-love, self-care practice for sure.
Highly recommend it. BPE, go to the show notes, take a look, sign up. You will thank me and Brittini later.
Yes. And let me know, tag me which one you do, because I love to see which videos they choose.
Oh, I like, good idea. Will you end us off with a brag?
Oh my God, yeah. Okay. I have a few. I brag that I have a few. Oh my God, there's so many. Okay, I brag that
I love this.
Yeah. I brag that I went to a play party last week, which is a sex party, and it was a stripper brothel themed, which is so fucking fun because I brag again that I teach lap dancing for women. Like I've done workshops, they've all been sold out. Like I've taught lap dancing as a way to embody your pleasure versus perform it, but I've actually never been paid for a lap dance. And so I brag that my like kinky desire to be paid to give someone a lap dance was claimed and done like 5 times Saturday. So that was so fun and rewarding. I brag that I went to a yoga class the next day after the play party. And this is like, I think any woman's wildest wet dream. The guy that was flowing next to me, he was cute, shirtless, 6-pack, asked for my number, and we're going on a date on Thursday. I brag.
I am so juicy from these brags.
Yeah. And this is all like 5 years ago. No fucking way would this be my life. And so this is just a huge testament to connecting to my sensuality and what connecting to your sensuality can bring. In BP On Demand, I also share a morning routine practice that's like 6 minutes long. It's 2 songs. And that's the practice that I will always tell women to do every single day. And that's actually a freebie. So you can also try that out too for yourself. But it's on BP On Demand. So those are my brags, but they're connected and tethered to this exact practice.
I love it. I love that you are walking the walk. Like this is not a business for you. I mean, yes, it is. And you are brilliant, but like but
it's a lifestyle.
Yes, you are literally embodying the work, which is one of the reasons why I had to have you on. So thank you so much for sharing your gifts with all of us.
Thank you. It was so fun to be here and talk to you all.
Have a great week, everybody. If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.